All right, so today we're going to be looking at some really, really cutting-edge companies, the kind of companies that are really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Rigetti Computing. They're in the quantum computing space. And then Archer Aviation. They are all about those eVTOL aircraft, those flying taxis. And we're going to be taking a look at a Motley Fool article from February 13th, 2025, to kind of guide us through what they're doing and which company might be a better investment.
I think those are really interesting picks. Both of those companies are tackling some pretty big challenges, but they also have, massive potential payoffs if they can pull it off. But of course, there are also risks.
Yeah, absolutely. There are always risks when you're dealing with these kind of cutting-edge companies, but the potential rewards are huge. So let's start with Rigetti. Their stock has been on an absolute tear lately, up over 1,200% in the last 6 months. It seems like quantum computing is finally starting to get some real attention.
Yeah, it really seems like it's having a moment.
But is it just hype, or is there real substance behind it?
Oh, there's definitely real substance there. Quantum computing has the potential to revolutionize so many industries. We're talking medicine, material science, artificial intelligence. It could really change the game.
And the thing about Rigetti is they're not just designing these quantum computers. They're actually controlling the entire manufacturing process. They even have their own chip factory, which is pretty unusual for a company in such a cutting-edge field.
Yeah, that vertical integration gives them a ton of control and flexibility. It means they can adapt and innovate much faster than companies that are outsourcing their production.
And they're not just talking about it either. They've already achieved some pretty impressive results. They've hit 99% reliability with their 84-qubit Ankaa 3 system. Now, for those who aren't familiar with quantum computing,
Right.
qubits are basically the building blocks of quantum computers, and reliability is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Achieving that kind of reliability with 84 qubits means they're getting closer to building systems that are stable and predictable enough for real-world applications.
And they're not doing this alone. They've partnered with some really big names: Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, even DARPA.
Yeah, that list of partners is pretty impressive.
It is. These are not small-time players.
No, they're not. And those partnerships give Rigetti access to some serious resources. Think about the cloud computing power of Amazon and Microsoft, and the kind of funding and expertise that comes with working with DARPA. That's a huge boost for any company.
It does make you wonder, though, is all this just potential? Or are we actually close to seeing quantum computing become a reality?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The potential is definitely there. But widespread, profitable use of quantum computing, it's probably still a few years away. This is definitely a long-term bet.
So it sounds like we need to be patient with Rigetti, but the potential payoff could be enormous. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Archer Aviation and those electric flying taxis. They're aiming to revolutionize urban transportation.
It's a bold vision, but, traffic is a nightmare in so many cities, so the idea of just bypassing all that congestion, it's pretty appealing.
Definitely. And investors seem to be buying into that vision. Archer's stock is up a healthy 134% in the last 6 months. But what really caught my eye was their partnership with Anduril Industries to develop hybrid VTOL aircraft for the military. So they're not just thinking about flying taxis anymore.
Yeah, that's a really interesting development. The military market is huge, and those contracts often come with a lot of funding. It could really accelerate their development.
It's like both these companies are going for different applications, but they're both trying to diversify.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket. They're exploring different markets, and that makes them more resilient in the long run.
And speaking of things moving forward, Archer's new manufacturing facility in Georgia is about to start production. They're aiming for 2 aircraft per month by the end of the year.
That's a big step. Actually getting those production lines up and running is crucial for any company that's building a complex product like an eVTOL.
Absolutely. And on top of all that, they're also getting close to FAA approval for commercial flights.
Oh, wow.
So if everything goes smoothly, we could actually see these flying taxis in the skies later this year.
That's amazing. FAA certification is a big deal for any aviation company. It's a stamp of approval that says their aircraft meets the highest safety and performance standards.
And it gives passengers and investors confidence. And it's not just the U.S. they're targeting. They're partnering with companies in the UAE and Japan as well, with potential orders already exceeding $6 billion.
Wow, they're really thinking globally.
Yeah, it seems like they understand that the demand for innovative transportation solutions, it's not limited to any one country.
Definitely not. And those international partnerships could be a key to their success.
So it seems like Archer's path to profitability, it's maybe a bit more defined than Rigetti's. They're further along in their development. They have a clear production plan. And they're already securing customers all over the world.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Rigetti's potential is still huge, but Archer just seems to be a bit closer to generating revenue right now.
It's a really interesting comparison, isn't it? You have this long-term, high-risk, high-reward scenario with Rigetti, and then you have this more immediate, potentially lower risk, but still substantial reward scenario with Archer.
Yeah, it really highlights the different flavors of innovation that we see in the tech world.
Exactly. And both approaches have the potential to create immense value.
Yeah, and I think both of them are really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
All right, so now that we've kind of done a deep dive into both Rigetti and Archer, which company do you think emerges as the more compelling investment opportunity at this moment? I mean, the Motley Fool article seems to have a clear favorite.
Yeah, they do seem to be leaning towards Archer, and I can see why. They're further along in their development, they're closer to commercialization, and they have a really diverse customer base that's already lining up. We're talking commercial airlines, government entities. Their path to revenue just seems much clearer and potentially faster.
But does that mean we should just dismiss Rigetti? I mean, their technology could be truly revolutionary. And those partnerships they have suggest that a lot of people believe in their long-term vision?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't think anyone should write off Rigetti. They're still a very high-risk, high-reward play, but if they can pull it off, the payoff could be astronomical.
I mean, it's hard to even imagine the possibilities.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. Think about it. What if we could design new materials at the molecular level, or accelerate drug discovery tenfold? Or create artificial intelligence that's orders of magnitude more sophisticated than what we have today? That's the kind of future that Rigetti is working towards.
It's pretty hard to ignore that kind of potential.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
So I guess the question for investors becomes, are you willing to take a chance on a potentially world-changing technology that's still years away from maturity? Or do you prefer a company like Archer that's closer to generating revenue and disrupting a market that's already ripe for innovation?
It's a tough choice, and there's no right or wrong answer. It really depends on your individual risk tolerance, your investment goals, and your belief in the potential of each technology.
And that's what makes this kind of deep dive so valuable. We're not trying to give you a definitive answer. We're just trying to equip you with the knowledge and insights so you can make your own informed decisions.
Exactly. We're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to give you the tools to think critically for yourself.
And I think it's also important to step back for a moment and consider the broader implications of what these companies are doing. They're both tackling big challenges and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring to see how they're approaching innovation from such different angles.
I mean, Rigetti is focused on a fundamental scientific breakthrough, harnessing the power of quantum mechanics to create an entirely new type of computing.
It's a long game, full of challenges.
Absolutely.
But the potential rewards are immense.
And then you have Archer, taking existing technologies, like electromotors, batteries, flight control systems, and combining them in a new and innovative way to solve a very real problem, urban transportation.
It's a more incremental approach,
Yeah.
but it still has the potential to dramatically improve people's lives.
For sure.
It's amazing to see these two very different approaches to innovation and how they're both pushing the boundaries of their respective fields.
It makes you wonder what other exciting developments are just around the corner.
Yeah, what other breakthroughs are waiting to be discovered?
So I'm curious, what stood out to you the most in this deep dive? Which company's approach to innovation resonated with you more?
Well, that's a great question. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, too. What aspects of their stories did you find most compelling or thought-provoking?
Yeah, it really does highlight how differently these companies are approaching innovation.
Yeah, they're both trying to make a big impact, but in very different ways.
Rigetti's pushing the boundaries of fundamental science, while Archer is taking existing technologies and finding really clever ways to apply them to a problem we all face.
Exactly. It's not just about inventing something new. It's about finding the right application.
Okay, so after diving deep into these two very different companies, which one emerges as the more compelling investment opportunity? I mean, looking back at our Motley Fool article, they seem to have a clear favorite.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be leaning towards Archer, and it makes sense. They're further along in their development, closer to actually selling their product, and they've got a diverse customer base already lined up.
Makes sense.
From commercial airlines to government agencies, it seems like a much clearer path to revenue.
But does that mean we should just ignore Rigetti completely? I mean, their technology really could be revolutionary, and they've got some big names backing them.
No, I don't think we should dismiss Rigetti at all. It's just a higher risk, higher reward situation.
True.
But if they succeed, the payoff could be enormous.
I mean, it's hard to even fathom the possibilities.
It really is. Imagine a world where we can design new materials at the molecular level, or accelerate discovery tenfold, or create artificial intelligence that's way more sophisticated than anything we have today.
Wow.
That's the kind of future that Rigetti is aiming for.
So essentially, it comes down to your risk tolerance as an investor.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you comfortable with a long-term, high-risk, high-reward scenario? Or do you prefer something a bit more immediate,
Right.
like Archer, which seems closer to generating revenue and disrupting a market that's ready for a change?
It's a tough choice, and it really depends on your individual circumstances and goals.
That's what makes these deep dives so useful. We're not here to tell you what to invest in.
Right.
We just want to give you the information you need to make your own informed decisions.
Exactly. We're just providing the tools.
So you can think for yourself.
That's the goal.
So I think it's interesting to look beyond the investment side of things for a moment.
Yeah.
And consider the broader impact these companies could have. They're both taking on massive challenges and pushing the limits of what's possible.
Absolutely.
Like on one hand, you have Rigetti, focusing on a fundamental scientific breakthrough, trying to harness the power of quantum mechanics to create a whole new kind of computing.
It's a long and difficult road.
Definitely.
But the potential is huge.
And then there's Archer, taking these existing technologies, electric motors, batteries, flight control systems, and combining them in an innovative way to solve this real-world problem of urban transportation.
It's a more practical approach.
For sure.
But it still has the potential to make a real difference.
Absolutely. It's amazing to see these two very different approaches and how they're both pushing the boundaries in their own way.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what other exciting developments are out there.
Totally.
What other breakthroughs are just waiting to happen?
I'm really curious to hear what stood out to you the most in this deep dive. Which company's approach to innovation resonated with you more?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd love to hear your thoughts, too.
Right?
What parts of their stories did you find most compelling or thought-provoking?
I mean, it's tough. They both have their strengths for sure.
Yeah.
Rigetti is just mind-blowing. Like the potential of quantum computing to solve problems we can't even wrap our heads around today. It's incredible.
It really is like, imagine a world where we can design new materials at the molecular level, like leading to breakthroughs in energy efficiency and sustainability, or where drug discovery is accelerated, potentially finding cures for diseases that are really tough to treat right now. That's the kind of power that we're talking about.
It's hard to even comprehend, but at the same time, Archer's vision is so appealing too. Like escaping gridlock in a sleek electric aircraft, soaring above the city. It sounds like science fiction, but they're making it a reality.
It's not just about convenience either. Think about the environmental impact. Replacing all those gas-guzzling cars with electric aircraft could really make a difference, especially in those congested areas. Plus, their partnership with the military suggests they're thinking about applications in disaster relief and emergency response.
So it's really a tough choice, like you're saying before, almost like picking between a moonshot and a solid double.
Exactly.
Both have their merits,
Yeah,
and they're both pushing the boundaries.
for sure.
But ultimately, it comes down to your individual risk tolerance and time horizon.
Absolutely, there's no right answer for everyone. Some investors might be drawn to that long-term, high-reward potential of Rigetti, while others might prefer the more immediate growth prospects of Archer,
Yeah, that makes sense.
as long as it aligns with your overall investment strategy.
This deep dive has given me a lot to think about, for sure. It's exciting to see this kind of innovation happening,
Yeah,
to see companies like Rigetti and Archer tackling these big challenges.
totally, and they're just two examples. There are so many other companies out there exploring new frontiers in so many different fields: biotechnology, renewable energy, artificial intelligence.
It really is an incredible time to be following all this.
It is.
And it's a good reminder that the future isn't just something that happens to us.
Right.
We create it through our curiosity, our ingenuity,
Yeah,
our willingness to take risks.
exactly.
And as investors, we have this opportunity to be a part of that creation,
We do.
to support the companies and technologies that are shaping the world.
Absolutely. It's a pretty powerful idea.
It is. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final question. What other emerging technologies or companies are you excited about?
Ooh, good question.
What innovations are on your radar that you think could really change things?
Yeah, that's worth thinking about.
Because often the most exciting discoveries are the ones we haven't even imagined yet.
So true.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of quantum computing and electric aviation.
It's been fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep investing in the future.